好啦，咁而家事不宜遲，各位，我哋而家咧就有請我哋第一位嘅候選人，佢哋咧之前已經係抽出咗佢哋咧今日坐嘅位置，全部咧都係 random 嘅，所以而家有請 former State Senator Mark Leno 前州參議員Leno。社區人士李愛神，我而家有請 San Francisco Supervisor Jane Kim 三藩市市參事金晶怡。前市參事會主席阿里奧圖，亦都而家請 Let us welcome San Francisco Board of Supervisors President London Breed 三藩市市參事會主席杜利德。Our 5 mayoral candidates have a seat, please. So before we start our program tonight, we would like everyone to know the rules and the debate for tonight. I already mentioned, please, no campaigning and asking supporters for votes. So also, 亦都提到啦，咁我哋亦都希望各位勸話啦，你係聽清楚我哋嘅候選人講嘢。每一次候選人講嘢嘅時候咧，亦都有1分鐘嘅時間係會倒數嘅。咁到時咧，最後10秒亦都會聽到呢個倒數啦。如果喺10秒之內亦都係唔停嘅話咧，咁我哋就會係冇辦法，咁就會熄咪㗎啦。So each of the candidates, you guys will have 1 minute to speak, and there will be a countdown. You will hear it. It will get louder and louder as it comes to an end. And once you hear the buzzer beep, that's when your mics will be muted. So every time that you guys finish speaking, please allow the translator to translate before the next candidate speaks. Also, as I mentioned, the candidates will take turns speaking first in each segment according to their number, with opening statements from our 5 candidates. And we'll start with candidate number 1, Mr. Mark Leno. Please.
Good evening, everybody. Dagaho. I want to thank the Tsingtao Daily and Chinese Culture Center for welcoming all of us here tonight. As I have had the great pleasure of representing San Francisco, Chinatown, and the Chinese American community in the State Assembly for 6 years and the State Senate for 8 years, as your mayor, I will be a voice for Chinatown and the Chinese American communities. And that means making sure that the leadership of this community will have a place at the table and in positions of leadership in City Hall. As department heads, as members of commissions and task forces, bringing your expertise from the small business community, as well as the arts and culture community, and those representing seniors and children and family issues, those who work to keep our communities safe. I've had the great pleasure of authoring legislation to keep low-income seniors from Chinatown and in other parts of the Chinese communities in their homes by protecting single-room occupancies from the Ellis Act and no-cause evictions, bringing $120 million to San Francisco to save our community college.
So a few more seconds.
At the height of the depths of the...
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mark Leno. 好啦，咁我哋而家有請下一位 we'll have our next candidate speak, Miss Ellen Lizzo, for opening statements.
Thank you. 我非常之多謝星島中文電台將呢個節目喺我哋華人嘅社區嚟到發揚光大。我今次係第一次 同呢4個市長候選人民主黨嚟到為我哋環社區嘅。I am very thankful to Singtao newspaper and Singtao Chinese video. The first time, this is the very first time that I came tonight with 4 candidates, the first time. I'm very thankful. I am a social worker and I am an immigrant social worker. I heard all of your concerns from the community. I am a therapist for public health. I provide services from toddlers, children, youth, seniors, and I fight in family court, and I fight in delinquent court and help people. It's important for everybody to be respected. And I'm running for a better San Francisco. I have enough of San Francisco. Thank you.
好，多謝晒李愛臣。咁我哋下一位就係金晶妍小姐。Now let us have Jane Kim with her opening statements.
大家好，我係金晶妍。多謝Singtao for hosting tonight's Mayoral Forum. It is really a pleasure to be here. It's also a pleasure to be back in Chinatown, where I spent 6 years as a youth community organizer with Chinatown Community Development Center. And over the last decade, I've had the honor of serving our city on the Board of Education and on the Board of Supervisors. And I have been proud to fight with you to ensure that education is a top priority here in our city. I fought to make San Francisco the only city in the country to make community college, city college, free for all of our residents. I also have worked to bring in $73 million into our public school system, and I'm currently working on an initiative to make early childhood education affordable for every family so that children 0 to 3 have access to quality education programs. Finally, I'm working on an initiative to make our streets cleaner again by doubling the number of street cleaners and publicly monitored restrooms. And I'm honored to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Jane Kim. Now we have Ms. Alioto.
Thank you very much, Singtao, for inviting us here tonight. It's great to be running for mayor of San Francisco, one of the most iconic cities in the world. I was president of the Board of Supervisors and a supervisor for 8 years, and I have been a civil rights lawyer for the last 18 years, representing the elderly and the disabled, national origin, and sexual orientation, gender, and other discriminatory categories. It's been a great pleasure to represent people who are underrepresented. And the Chinese community in San Francisco is underrepresented, especially when it comes to housing. So I will fight like mad to have housing for those people who have lived in their house more than 10 years, that are 75 years or older, and who have paid their rent. I will fight like mad to make them a legacy tenancy so that they cannot ever be removed from their homes, so they can stay in their homes. I'm beating the beat. I'm beating the beat.
Thank you, Ms. Alioto. Okay, now it's Ms. Breed.
Hi, everybody. My name is London Breed. I'm president of the San Francisco Board of Supervisors. I was born and raised in San Francisco, raised by my grandmother in public housing. I graduated from public schools, including Galileo High School, and I went to UC Davis, graduated, and came back to work in the community. Because of the challenges that were happening in San Francisco, the lack of opportunity, the housing issues, losing a lot of my friends to gun violence, watching as many of my friends moved out of San Francisco, I ran for the Board of Supervisors because I wanted to make sure that the policies and the funding and what we do in this city actually impacts people's lives for the better. I'm running for mayor because I'm prepared to do what's necessary to address our most challenging issues: homelessness, housing, and public safety. We need to look at those things from a completely different lens so that we can be effective in delivering for each and every one of you.
Thank you, Ms. Breed. Right now we're going to go and enter our Q&A segment, and we have provided today a moderator, Singtao Daily's Deputy Chief Editor, Joyce Chen. 係我哋星島日報嘅副總編輯陳之欣小姐啦，咁今日亦都係做 moderator， 到時咧亦都係發問一啲問題俾我哋嘅候選人嘅。So she will be asking the questions to the 5 mayoral candidates, and for this round, the first round of questions will be Ms. Ellen Lizo will speak first. I'll change the time over to Ms. Chen.
Thank you. We have 3 questions in total. So first round from 2 to back to 1, and the second round 3 to 2. third round or to number 3, right? First question, Chinese American community, you guys all mentioned at the beginning of your statement. We took great pride in electing the first Chinese American mayor of this great city in November 2011. Can you please tell us what have you done in the past before you decided to run for mayor that have benefited our community and deserve our vote this time? 咁我哋想第一個問題就係華人社區非常自豪啦，我哋喺2011年選出咗三藩市歷史上第一位華人市長。而家就想請各位介紹一下，係你參加本次市長選舉之前，你曾經為我哋華人社區做咗啲咩事？點解今次值得我哋投你一票 ？Thank you.
My name is Li Chiao. I have been in San Francisco for 32 years. I grew up in Chinatown. I came here in high school. And I am a city government social worker. And I do a lot of outreach work for the community. One of the radio shows I do is the Tsingtao Chinese radio. That we have more than 100,000 listeners every day. Another program I do is called 一點光. And it's outreaching people. All those programs that I dedicate my time, my vacation time to help the community. The question was, how did you serve the community? I serve the community by dedicating my life, myself, my time to you, all of you in here. I was nominated by the Good Neighborhood Coalition in all 11 districts because we were fighting at the no cannabis regulations in 2017. I was nominated by the 11 districts on behalf of the community. So I'm very honored to be here today, and I am a certified city and county interpreter. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll have Ms. Kim answer the question.
After I graduated from Stanford University with a major in Asian American Studies, I decided that I wanted to come back and serve my community. So I worked at Chinatown Community Development Center as a youth organizer where I recruited and grew young people to become leaders for their neighborhood and their community. And we fought for many things. And we also did community service, cleaning our alleyways in Chinatown on a regular basis on the weekends, working to rehabilitate our single-room occupancy buildings, connecting services to seniors and making sure they had access to culturally appropriate services and housing counseling, and also work on pedestrian safety issues along the Stockton corridors, including the scramble signals, which we put in place in 2002. We also worked to renovate our parks and our playgrounds and made sure that they were a priority with our city and extend the 30 and 45 buses along Stockton, because we know that many of our tenants don't own cars.
Thank you, Ms. Kim. No applause, no applause.肅靜，唔該。Ms. Alioto?
So as president of the Board of Supervisors, the acupuncture and Chinese medicine was not covered by the city's health care. So I did both of the laws that covered acupuncture being paid for all city employees and all Chinese alternative medicines being allowed to be used. I also came to Chinatown and worked very daily, weekly with the Chinese community during a time that the small businesses were having such a hard time even staying open because of the lack of tourism during the 2 or 3 years. Also during that time, I worked very hard to stop evictions, and since I've been a trial lawyer, I have worked time and time again to stop the Ellis Act evictions, and those mainly that occurred with the Chinese community in the last 7 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Alioto. Ms. Breed?
When I first became a member of the San Francisco Board of Supervisors and met with Mayor Li, I told him my priority is public housing. I lived in public housing for over 20 years of my life, and we all know the conditions of some of our public housing developments in San Francisco, mostly in my district and in the Bayview Hunters Point, but also here in Chinatown, the Pings. Mayor Li and I work really closely together, and as we speak, those units are being rehabilitated, and I'm proud of that work. We also work to put another 400 new police officers on our streets, especially in the commercial corridors. And during the brief time I served as acting mayor, I added more beat officers, specifically in Chinatown. We know that in places where we have a lot of our seniors who are shopping and spending their time, that we have to do everything that we can to keep them safe. And I am committed to making, oh, there we go. I'm committed to doing everything I can to continue that working relationship.
Thank you, Ms. Brady.
Thank you. As a member of the Board of Supervisors, I worked with my then colleague, Supervisor Mabel Tang, to author the Equal Access to Services Ordinance, which provides translation services and requires that the departments of public health and building inspection and the planning department, the police department, and the fire department translate their services to San Franciscans in Chinese. I was also, as a small business owner for so many decades, I understand the challenges that small businesses face in San Francisco, and so I authored the local ordinance that created the Small Business Commission so that small businesses can get assistance, special assistance and attention from the city of San Francisco. And then I also authored the ordinance that has created thousands of units of affordable housing, requiring that developers build affordable housing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Leno. We will have our Q&A segment for question number 2, starting with Ms. Kim will answer first.
Yeah, Chinese community has a long history in the city, as you all know, yet we still have to fight for representation in a lot of areas, such as equal access. Please give us your take on how the community interests need better representation and how you plan to address that. 咁華人社區喺三藩市當然已經有好耐歷史，不過我哋好多社區利益，譬如我哋需要嘅語言服務啊、商業服務咧，都未得到足夠嘅保障。請問你覺得我哋仲有邊啲利益尚未得到關注？咁你會如何改變？
The Chinese and Chinese American community have had a long history here in San Francisco for over 150 years, and we have worked to invest in institutions, family associations, nonprofit organizations that serve our community so that we can ensure that we had healthcare services and housing that were for us in languages that we understood. We are finally making a dent in local city government as well, electing Chinese and Asian Americans that have come from the community to continue serving, and that is why I ran for office in 2004 for the school board, because I didn't feel that immigrant communities were being adequately represented on our Board of Education and in our school board, despite the fact that 50% of our students are Asian American. We need to continue to ensure that our department heads and our commissions reflect the diversity of our communities and that we fight for language and culturally appropriate services with SFPD, our parks, and MTA.
Thank you, Ms. Kim. Okay, Ms. Alioto.
As I understood, the question was how to fight for the advancement of the Chinese community. Is that basically right? Because I didn't understand the word fight. So as mayor, just like my father, Mayor Joseph Alioto, I would appoint Chinese members to the majority of the very important commissions in this city. My father was the first to appoint minorities in all of San Francisco during his administration, and I continued that when I was board president, appointing for the Board of Supervisors. Also for this community, it's so very important to get involved in many of the issues that involve housing, and more housing. I pledged, Mayor Lee's pledge of 5,000 more units to be built in the next year or two. I also think that there ought to be many more SROs that are taken care of in a much better way than they're presently being taken care of for this community. But it's great to get your representatives elected to office. It's always good. And I think that Mayor Ed Lee did a great job. I don't like that buzzer. It's like the Gong Show.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Ms. Breed?
In addition to making sure that Chinese Americans who are part of the city are employed in the mayor's administration, are working jobs as department heads, are serving on boards and commissions, I think that there's a missing part to this conversation, and that is equity, equal distribution of opportunities here in the city as it relates to funding. Specifically, I give you an example, grants for the arts. Grants for the arts, basically, the Asian population represents over 30% here in San Francisco, but the funding for grants for the arts is usually a little bit over 10% to the Asian community. It's something that we have to look at when we're issuing grants, when we're providing opportunities. We have to do a better job in the city and county of San Francisco of shining an equity lens on how we support and distribute opportunities here in the city for all San Franciscans.
Thank you, Ms. Breed. Okay, Mr. Leno.
I authored the Equal Access to Services Ordinance specifically because Chinese translation and access to language and cultural services are so very important. When I hear that there are Chinese Americans victimized by property and violent crime and they can't even communicate with the police officers because there's no police officer in their neighborhood who speaks their language, San Francisco is not abiding by its own law. As mayor, I would ensure that there is a national Chinese museum and arts center in San Francisco, as well as a Chinese visitor center here in Chinatown, because we need to have a destination place where visitors know that they can come and have the information they need to be able to access Chinatown and all of the wonders that are here for them to visit.
Thank you, Mr. Leno. Hi, Lacey Dad. Ms. Li.
Thank you. Chinese community need 4 areas. We came all the way overseas from China, from Taiwan, from Hong Kong, from Macau, any Asia country. Number 1, we want peace. We want no recreational cannabis invade our privacy. That's number 1. Number 2, we want our small property owners being protected. We are 35% of the property owner. We work real hard, 2 to 3, 5 jobs, and live together and save enough to be a property owner. But right now, we have been sued and invaded our privacy and no protection for our property owner. That's what we need in the Chinese community. Number 3, a lot of crimes that are targeted Chinese. That is not acceptable nowadays. We talk about more police. That is not the important thing. The important thing is collaborate with other community to teach them to respect people and follow the law. But right now, we have a sanctuary city that is not protecting us. That's what we do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Li. 好啦，咁而家我哋進入我哋第3個嘅 Q&A. We'll go and start our 3rd question and answer, and we will start with Ms. Alioto.
In recent years, housing prices and cost of living have been skyrocketing in the city, and it's agreed we have a crisis of affordability. So if you were elected and within your 18-month tenure, your first tenure of the mayor, what concrete steps would you take to address this issue? 咁三藩市近年來，大家都知道房價飆升，生活指數越嚟越高，大家都覺得已經係出現咗一個可負擔嘅危機。如果你當選市長喺呢個1年半嘅任期之內，你會執行邊啲具體嘅措施嚟解決？
Affordability of housing is one of the largest problems in San Francisco, along with crime, homelessness, and dirty streets. The only way we're going to fix the ability of people to live in San Francisco is to create housing that is not only affordable, but housing that is below affordable. Affordable is $130,000 income. We need to be able to provide housing for people who make $70,000, $80,000, $90,000. We need to provide income, affordable housing for people who are nurses, teachers, emergency services, police and fire. And the way you do that is to provide more density in certain parts of the city, not the whole part of the city, but certain parts of the city, add more density, add the 5,000 already agreed upon affordable housing that the mayor, and also work with the developers to make sure that more of a percentage of their housing is affordable.
Thank you, Ms. Alioto. Okay, thank you. Ms. Breed?
Between 2010 and 2015, for every 8 jobs we created only 1 new unit of housing. It is clear that we have to do more. We have to do more housing for all income levels. We can start by passing Proposition D. Proposition D provides affordable housing opportunities for middle, low, and moderate income residents, subsidies, permanent subsidy for our senior population. And part of what we can do is also identify underutilized sites to purchase or to do a public-private partnership to build more housing. We just purchased the McDonald's site at Hayden Stanton. We're going to build 100% affordable housing on this particular site for low, moderate, and middle-income residents. If we want to make sure the next generation of young people who are growing up in San Francisco have a real shot of living here, we have to do more. In addition to creating jobs, dealing with infrastructure, housing has to be the top priority of any person who is mayor of the city and county of San Francisco.
Thank you, Ms. Reed.
Having focused for many years on the need for more affordable housing in San Francisco as chair of the Senate Budget Committee a couple years back, I was able to negotiate with the governor to bring $500 million to San Francisco to expedite the construction of 3,300 new affordable housing units to Mission Bay and to Hunters Point Shipyard along with Trans Bay development sites. Also, we need to make sure we get as much affordable housing, below market rate housing, out of every residential development project that comes up in San Francisco. We've seen on Pier 70, for example, that 35–40% of units can be developed as below market rate. We should amend
couple areas. Government accountability. I investigate government employees. I investigate board of supervisors. If we don't have government accountability, we will not have housing. The question to you, why we have housing crisis right now is because there's no accountability. We allow the developers came into San Francisco with no expectation to take care of the people, you and me. That is the problem that created housing crisis. Number two, our small property owners being sued for no reason because of corrupted behavior. Therefore, we the people will not run it to the people. So that is another one, no accountability. In order to solve the housing crisis, we need accountability. Held the people who are elected officers, put them to jail if they broke the law. That's what we need. Thank you.
Hi, Ms. Kim.
Affordable and middle-income housing has been my priority on the Board of Supervisors, and no one has negotiated and won more affordable and middle-income housing than I have over my last 7 years serving on the San Francisco Board of Supervisors. And I've also ensured that we fought for housing for our families and our seniors so they can age in place in our city. I also supported and strongly fought for free muni for our youth and our cities and our seniors so that they can travel through our city affordably. And finally, I fought to make City College free for all of our residents so that tuition is not a barrier to advancing in your education. And finally, today, I'm fighting to make childcare affordable for all of our families. We have 2,500 families on the wait list for childcare today. The majority are Chinese and Asian American. And I will continue to make sure that housing, transportation, and education.
Thank you, Ms. Kim. Okay, this ends our Q&A segment from our Deputy Chief Editor. 我哋而家咧就係進入第二個嘅另外一個嘅環節啦，咁就係候選人互相提問 ，which is the candidate versus candidate Q&A. So we'll have Ms. Breed. Who would you like to question?
Supervisor Kim.
Okay, Supervisor Kim. So 而家咧就有請Ms. Lynn Breed to direct her question to Ms. Jane Kim.
Thank you. So as supervisor, I worked with Mayor Li to put 400 new police officers on our streets, and as mayor, I plan to commit to putting another 200 police officers on our streets by the end of next year in our commercial corridors in our neighborhoods. My question to Supervisor Kim is, if you're elected mayor, will you work to make sure that we put hundreds of new police officers on our streets, more specifically if you would focus on our commercial corridors where we know there are a lot of challenges?
Thank you for the question. Every year I've served on the Board of Supervisors, I have voted to increase the number of police officers that are on our streets. And I want to make sure that they walk their beat and that you know the officers by their first name on these merchant corridors. During my time on the board, I have also ensured that the Tenderloin Station has doubled the number of police officers that we have to help make our neighborhood safer and stronger. But I also believe that as we invest in officers, we also have to invest in education, after-school programs, and college as well. It's the combination of both investing in educational opportunities and police officers that will make our city safer.
Thank you, Ms. Kim. Okay, Mr. Leno, who would you like to direct your question to?
Former Supervisor Alioto. Given the White House's continued assault on our immigrant communities and families, the importance of our sanctuary city law has taken on ever greater importance. My question is, what were the circumstances over 20 years ago that inspired you to write our sanctuary law?
I am the mother of 4 children and the grandmother of 5 children. I have 5 grandchildren. Family, just like the Chinese community, the Italian community loves family. When I was supervisor, there was one night where there was a Club Elegante in the Mission District, and everybody was dancing and everybody was having fun, and all of a sudden the SFPD and the INS went in and raided the Club Elegante and took over 340 people to the police station, to the federal INS at the time, today it's ICE, and then deported them the next day, and their children were sitting on the stairs of the houses where they lived in the Mission District. It was absolutely heartbreaking. So I had a committee hearing for 6 months to create the sanctuary law that would disallow the SFPD to contact ICE in order to deport people who were here, who were not doing it.
Thank you, Ms. Alioto. Ms. Lee, who would you like to direct your question to?
I want to say to all of them, but I can only
Choose one.
Choose one.
Only choose one.
I'm going to ask my friend Jen Kim right here. My question is, you have developed a lot of policies that is only anti-property owners. You only protect the tenants. Can you share with our audience in here who have been suffering so much pain due to lawsuit because they own a piece of properties?
Over my time on the Board of Supervisors, we have seen an economic growth that is increasing evictions on our seniors and immigrants who speak English as a second language. It was important to me to work with our tenants and our tenant leaders to pass ordinances so that we can keep seniors and immigrants who speak English as a second language as their home. But I also know that there are bad tenants out there too. And Ellen, your advocacy to my office has pushed us to study 2 things. One is a property tax rebate for homeowners who either legalize or build an in-law unit for a number of years to help homeowners put their units out for rent. And second is to create an education and legal fund for small homeowners in Cantonese who need legal help so that they can be good landlords here in San Francisco.
Ms. Kim, who would you like to direct your question to?
I will pick President Breed.
好，咁金晶賢小姐而家係想發問問題向布里德女士嘅。Please ask your question.
President Breed, in November we passed legislation on the legalization of cannabis, which we both supported. Can you explain why you voted against a 1,000-foot buffer on putting legal cannabis businesses to schools and childcare centers, and also why you excluded childcare centers from being 600 feet now from MCDs? And finally, if you support a ban in Chinatown.
Thank you. So as Supervisor Kim, you remember when we were proposing legislation to address the changes to state law for cannabis, what I made clear from the very beginning is that we need a standard policy in place. So I voted against every amendment that was proposed by all of my colleagues. But what I have made clear time and time again is that I am open to community-driven solutions. Just like with formula retail, bans that exist specifically in my district in Hayes Valley. And it's not a one-size-fits-all when doing legislation. And so I have made it clear in a place like Chinatown, for example, where it's a densely popped neighborhood, where it's a very unique neighborhood, cultural icon in San Francisco and a destination where it's clear that people don't want a cannabis location there. I am opposed to that, and I have said that early on. So, yes, that's my answer. Thank you.
Former Senator Leno.
Okay.
Except that Ellen doesn't get asked a question, so I can ask her too.
You choose one. Who would you like to
Okay,
ask?
but then she doesn't get to answer a question.
You guys had to pick which candidate you'd like to forward your
Okay.
question to. So who would you like to pick?
Oh, that's tough. Okay, I'll pick Senator Leno.
OK 好，咁阿里奧圖咧，亦都係而家發問問題向阿李諾先生嘅。
Okay, so Mark, you haven't been around recently in the last couple of years for these navigational centers. My question is, do you have an understanding how important it is that these navigational centers, so that we can house the poorest of poor from our streets of San Francisco, get them off the streets? You understand how important it is that those navigational centers have a place to put people when they finish the 120 or the 190 days, such that they don't go back into the same revolving door routine and then back onto our streets? Because nobody seems to understand that centers cannot just go on for a short amount of time and then put people back out on the streets. Permanent supportive housing is the answer, and I want to know whether or not you as mayor would make sure that we stop these programs that have dead ends for poor people in San Francisco.
Thank you, Supervisor Aliotto. I couldn't agree with you more. Permanent supportive housing is where we need to go, and we will need to build probably some thousands of additional permanent supportive housing units. Of course, I've got a plan that will end street homelessness by 2020, and that immediately will take upwards of 1,000 people off the streets who want to be off the streets by making use of unused single-room occupancies. We also know that there is a waiting list for 1,000 people who want to get off the streets every night. So we see that there is a desire to improve the lives of those on the streets and also our small business owners and our neighbors and our families who are seeing their lives disrupted by the people on the street. The status quo is not working for anyone, and we can do so much better.
Okay, this ends our candidate versus candidate question and answer, and then we will start our next segment, which is the Q&A from the audience. We've already collected questions from the audience, and that were put into these boxes and then are directed towards each candidate. And each candidate will have 2 questions from the audience, and then we will have our Deputy Chief Editor, Joyce Chen, she will ask, and we will start back from number 1, Mr. Leno. 我而家先翻譯下我哋下一個環節嘅一啲嘅規矩啦。咁呢一個咧就係現場提問啦。咁就頭先咧，你哋各位觀眾咧行入嚟嘅時候，或者甚至係頭先聽緊嘅時候咧，亦都係想向我哋嘅候選人咧發問問題嘅話咧，就已經寫低咗你嘅問題。咁每一位候選人咧，亦都係從呢一個箱裏邊咧，我哋會抽出每一位都會有2條問題係可以係作答嘅。所以咧，我哋就先而家咧就亦都重翻輪到去第一嗰度係阿李樂先生先回答。我哋而家有請翻我哋嘅副總編輯陳之欣小姐係為大家去提問呢一個問題嘅。
Okay, this question is for James Winchester. How are you different from the other candidates? 咁呢位 James 先生就係話，你同其他候選人有咩唔同
You also have 1 minute to answer, Mr. Leno. Each candidate will have 1 minute.
Thank you. You are looking at a table of very accomplished individuals. Each of them and each of us are trailblazers and glass ceiling breakers. But I am different from the other candidates in that I have not only served on the Board of Supervisors, but I've also had the extraordinary experience of representing all of you in the State Assembly for 6 years and the State Senate for 8 years. And that experience has brought me a lot of knowledge and expertise that I am committed to bringing to the mayor's office. having recognized that the issues we're talking about tonight are not just San Francisco-specific unique issues. They are regional issues and statewide issues. Having served in the state legislature, I know many of the elected officials from the region, and we can work together to solve those problems finally.
Okay, now the question for Ms. Ellen Lizo.
This question is from Li Chiao. We did not see you in other mayoral debate. What went wrong? Are you a qualified candidate? 呢個問題係 Li Chiao 提嘅，就我哋喺其他市長候選人論壇裏面冇見過你，唔知中間係咩問題呢？你係咪一個合資格嘅候選人？
That is a very good question. I hold myself up tonight with no tears because I'm marching on. I was discriminated from the beginning of my race. Since January 9th, I was not allowed to any Democratic club organize mayor debates, and they're all here tonight. I am very thankful to Tsingtao. And number two, I am being discriminated because I'm Chinese, and I'm not white, I'm not black. That's how I feel about it. I was not invited at all. I even protested and asked to be speak. They would not allow me to be in there. That is how discriminatory it is. It's an unfair election. Yes, I am 100% qualified. I am a government county city employee. Like I said, I investigate people's complaints. I knew the city in and out. I am very qualified. I am a therapist. I listen to people's problems. Yes, thank you.
Is it funny?
Yes, there are only 4 characters. It's from Sonia Ning about Beihou Central City. I guess she just wanted to ask you about Central City policy. Central City.
Oh, sanctuary city. Just in general?
呢個問題係4個字，庇護城市。咁相信都係想問有關庇護城市呢個立場啦。
Well, I'm proud to be in a city that is a sanctuary city for all of our immigrants. I grew up in an immigrant family, in an immigrant community, and so I know how important it is for us to continue to support a diverse community, and our immigrants help drive and grow our economy. But I've also said that it's great to have these progressive policies in place, but we also have to make sure that San Francisco is an affordable city so that communities can continue to come here as a haven and be protected by many of the policies and services that we have in place for our immigrant community.
Same question from the same audience, Sonia, about Central City policy. 都係同一位女士咁啱啱抽中下，又係講關於庇護城市政策嘅。
So just generally speaking, the sanctuary city, you know, I welcome this opportunity. And I want to thank the Tsingtao Daily. This is a really important issue. The purpose of the sanctuary law was for people who were running away from wars, from horrible discrimination, from famine. The purpose of it is to give people a safe place to be so that they're not hassled the way they are in the country that they come from, which is countries all over the world. The sanctuary law is for every immigrant that's in the city and county of San Francisco. And the sanctuary law is very San Francisco. It's about who we are. It's about opening our arms to all immigrants to come to San Francisco because the hardest working people in the history of our city for the last 180 years has been the immigrants. The Chinese immigrants and the Italian immigrants and the Irish immigrants came to San Francisco together and made it what it is. So we welcome all immigrants.
This question is from Paul Winchester. Why did you vote against Prop C, the speculative tax which would prevent Chinese people from eviction? 呢個係 Paul Winchester 先生提問。點解你反對呢個 C 提案？嗰個提案咧，其實就係話將呢個反對呢個炒樓呢個稅啊，其實可以保證啲中國人咧免受逼遷。
So that's actually not true. I didn't vote against. Are we talking about G or C? G. Yes, so that's actually not true. I didn't vote against the speculator tax. To be clear, I didn't take a public opinion about that particular tax, so that's inaccurate, which is unfortunate because there seems to be, throughout this campaign sometimes, a lot of information that's out there that's not necessarily true. Just to be clear, I am a tenant. I have been a tenant my entire life. Up until recently, my landlady passed away, my building sold, and I was in jeopardy possibly of losing the place that I've lived. In fact, when I grew up in San Francisco, in the public housing development that I grew up in, where there were 300 units were torn down, they only built 200 units. And as a result, they knew that over 100 families were not going to be returning to Plaza East. I am committed to doing all I can to address issues around tenant protections, and so don't believe the lies that are out there. Thank you.
Okay, this ends the first round of questions from our audience. We will start the second round, starting again from Mr. Mark Leno. 所以而家咧，我哋進入第二個係現場，係我哋就係從另外陳小姐 Ellen Lizo 開始嘅呢一個嘅環節。咁咧就係呢一個就係第二個現場提問問題嘅，就先係俾李小姐。
This question in Chinese first, from Pauline Shan. 房屋嘅短缺根源係乜嘢？點解屋主係問題嘅根源，而法例唔受保護？點樣解決呢個問題 ？So there's affordability, availability of the supply of the housing. What's the root of this problem? Why do you think the owner is the root, and they are not protected by the law? How do we solve this problem?
Okay, Ms. Li.
Thank you. This is the most important question in the Chinese American community. We are a supply on a demand basis. We, the Chinese people, supply to the market. However, the rules, the housing policy is not for the landlords, especially Chinese landlords. So like I said earlier, we withheld some of the unit because of unfair regulation. They're being sued. That's one. Number two, when Ed Li was mayor, a lot of developers developed the housing that is not affordable to people. That's another one. Number three, again, go back to government accountability. When they build houses, they are not thinking about families, teachers, and workers who are locally. So those are the root causes for those problems. When I am elected mayor, I will not welcome any new developers to come and build not affordable housing. That is not San Franciscans' needs. We need affordable housing. 30% of the income, and that's what I'm going to do. Thank you.
This question is also in Chinese. 金分毛，治安社區安全問題 ，a very general question regarding public safety and the community safety. Maybe some of your policy.
Sure. So in my time representing the South of Market and Tenderloin, I have worked very closely both with our San Francisco Police Department to expand their footbeat in our neighborhoods and ensure that merchants and resident leaders know their police officers by their first name. I've also fought to expand affordable and quality after-school programs, childcare, as well as expanding opportunities to City College. We know that access to good education and good jobs make our city safer by providing more opportunities for both of us, for all of us.
You guys are partners. Same question from the same audience. 金分毛 It's about 治安社區安全問題. It's about public safety and community safety.
Public safety and community safety. I am the only candidate that has been endorsed by the Police Officers Association, and that's extremely important to me. I believe that the San Francisco Police Department should have full staffing, though I appreciate the 200 police officers that President Breed is talking about. It needs many, many more than 200. We are at about 1,600 versus 2,200 that was full staffing 20 years ago. So we need police officers on the street. We need foot patrol. We need bikes. We need motorcycles. We need cars. We need horses. We need more police officers that work one-on-one with the communities. Police officers that join in on everything from soccer games to softball games with the communities. Police officers who get to know the children in the community. Police officers come and teach our children how to be a police officer when they grow up so that they have a mutual respect and understanding for the very tough job that our police officers have.
Thank you, Ms. Alioto.
This question from Sean Y. I don't recognize the writing for the name. Chinatown is a small community with a lot of interest groups. If you became the mayor, how do you select a group to help Chinatown? Will you have a 5-year plan, 10-year plan, and maybe 20-year plan?
Can you repeat the first part of the question?
Chinatown is a small community with a lot of interest groups.
The second part of that.
If you became the mayor, how do you select a group to help Chinatown?
好，有請翻譯個問題。
呢個就係話華埠係一個好細嘅社區，不過就有好多唔同嘅利益團體。如果你做咗市長，你係應該選擇邊啲團體嚟幫助華埠？你會唔會有個5年啦、10年啦或者20年嘅方案？
I'm really honored to have the support of many Chinese elected officials, including Assemblymember David Chu, Supervisor Katie Tang, Assessor Recorder Carmen Chu, as well as Betty Yi and Fiona Ma. And I think that it's important that when working with Chinatown or any member of our Chinese community here in San Francisco is that we have an open line of communication, that we work together to accomplish the goals of what you want to see in your community. I grew up in the Western Addition community, and I got to tell you, I was really tired of everyone telling me what was best for our community. It's why I got involved in politics. It had everything to do with wanting to stand up for my community. And as mayor, I will stand up for San Francisco, and I will work hand in hand with your community for the purposes of doing what is most important to you to address your most challenging issues.
You're lucky there. This question from Jingfen Mao, the same question about 治安社區安全問題, public safety, community safety. The same question from the same audience, but for different candidates.
So trying not to repeat what the other candidates have said, yes, we do want more community policing. We do want more officers getting to know the neighborhood. But we all know that the best crime preventive program known to humankind is a quality public education. And that's why I will be focusing on education and opportunities for higher education. I'm proposing a San Francisco promise to every and any San Francisco student who succeeds through high school and then makes their way to community college and gets their AA degree, that we will promise them a spot at San Francisco State University free of charge. Every student should have the opportunity to pursue his or her dreams and hopes and aspirations. And if they want to get a BA degree, then we will make that promise to them.
Thank you. Now we will start our closing statement, starting from Ms. Kim. 好啦，咁而家咧，我哋咧就係希望每一位嘅候選人咧，亦都係再講多1分鐘咧，亦都係作為佢哋嘅 closing 嘅。所以希望各位咧，亦都可以保持安靜咧，就係聽清楚每一位候選人講嘅説話。So 金晶妍小姐開始先，咁亦都係有1分鐘嘅時間嘅。
My parents taught me the importance of working incredibly hard and also the importance of a good education. My parents worked hard day and night so that I could attend a good school and eventually go to Stanford and UC Berkeley School of Law. I'm so grateful for all the sacrifices they made on my behalf, and in fact, they continue to still work day and night today and on weekends to ensure a good future for me and my brother. Because of what I saw them do, how hard they fought for our family, negotiated, I was inspired to go into public service so that I could serve my community, our families and our seniors, to make this a better community for all of us. I have fought for free community college. I am fighting for affordable early childhood education and to bring more funding to our schools. And finally, I want to make our city clean for all of us by doubling the number of our street cleaners and public toilets so that our streets can be cleaner for our families and our small businesses. Thank you very much.
Closing statement from Ms. Alioto.
So again, thank you all very, very much for being here tonight. It's wonderful that there are so many people out and interested in this mayor's race. This mayor's race is critical. These problems we had 10 years ago, we had 20 years ago. But today they are totally exaggerated. They are over the top, out of control. Homelessness, dirty streets, nowhere to live. Nowhere to live in San Francisco. It's not affordable. Crime. All those things have happened because what's happened in the last 10 years has happened. People have come to San Francisco. The tech industry, as wonderful as it is, came to San Francisco without a plan. And all of the people that work at the tech industries have to have housing also. So what happens is people who have been here 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, born and raised like I was. My father was born and raised here. My grandmother was born and raised right here in North Beach. What has happened is everything's been exaggerated. This is a very, very important mayor's race. Please look at all the candidates carefully before you vote.
Thank you, Ms.
Very
Alioto.
important.
Ms. Breed, your closing statement.
You know, I'm really honored to be here. I wasn't supposed to be here. I grew up raised in public housing by my grandmother in some of the most challenging circumstances. My brother's still in prison. I lost a sister to a drug overdose. And the reason why I fight so hard to do what I do is because I want to make sure that no one else in the city has to endure what I had to endure growing up in the city. It is time that we have a mayor who understands what it feels like, who understands how to make better policy decisions so that we can connect the dots. If it wasn't for my public school education and my teachers and my counselors and the encouragement I got through the Mayor's Youth Employment and Training Program for that first opportunity, I wouldn't be here today. I'm fighting to be mayor because I want to make the kind of change that is necessary to move our city forward. Bold, creative solutions to address our most challenging problems. Please check out our website for more information, londonformayor.com. I hope I can count on your support. Thank you.
Now let us have Mr. Leno with your closing statement.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you all tonight. In these very challenging times we're facing in San Francisco, we need a leader who has the ability and desire to bring everyone together so that we can roll up our sleeves and get the job done, which is what I did in Sacramento for 14 years and 4 years on the Board of Supervisors, which is why I am the only candidate in the race who has a majority of supervisors supporting my candidacy, along with U.S. Senator Kamala Harris, and Controller Betty Yee, and soon-to-be State Treasurer Fiona Ma, along with Assemblyman Phil Ting. I also have the support of the Community Tenants Association. I have the #1 endorsement from the San Francisco teachers, #1 endorsement from the Democratic Party of San Francisco, and I would be so honored and thrilled to have your support as well. MarkLeno.com to answer all your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Leno. 請我哋李愛臣小姐做你嘅結尾。Ms. Alonzo, your closing statement.
Chinese American, 35% in San Francisco. That is include Chinese and Asian. We are 35% property owners. In San Francisco city government, we are not being heard. Our voice is not being understood. We were discriminated at many of the public hearings. I am not only running for Chinese. I am a city and county employee. We need government reform. As a mayor, I will give back 50% of my mayor's salary and develop 11 districts to have voices from each corner and invite the people who have hearts, who are retired, and willing to help San Francisco. A mayor is not going to do anything, cannot do anything. It has to be a teamwork from Board of Supervisors. I make a pledge today. When I elected as mayor, I will hire 7 of them. We have 8 people running for mayor. I will hire 7 of them and tell them to do the right thing as they pledge. And I will be the most important person directing it. Thank you.
Thank you. To all of our 5 mayoral candidates, please give them a round of applause. 請俾啲掌聲佢哋。Good luck to all of you in the June 5th election. 我諗亦都係祝佢哋各位咧，亦都係喺星期二6月5號嘅選舉嗰度咧，亦都係祝各位好運，亦都係有請。We will have our 5 mayoral candidates have a group photo. And also 亦都喺呢度咧，亦都多謝永興餅家提供呢一啲茶點嘅話，茶點啦，亦都係希望各位如果係未攞嘅話咧，請到後面嗰度咧可以係攞呢一啲永興餅家提供嘅茶點嘅，亦都好多謝晒各位今日嘅到來。Thank you。